Hello and welcome. Welcome to this Navigate the Narcissist 6 week co parenting coaching course. I'm author Grace Wroldson. I'm the author of several books available on Amazon, including Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self Rules to Stay Sane. And I'm happy to be here helping any moms or anyone that needs to hear this message and information. This is my 6 week course. Are you co parenting with a narcissist or trying to? Are you dealing with a high conflict family court battle? Is the narcissist attempting to steal sole custody or get off of paying child support? If you want to stop losing, stop stressing, and start strategizing and learn to win, this course can be really helpful for you. It'll help you focus on what matters. And also, be smart, get a plan, make a plan. This will also help you create a strategy to navigate the legal system and the narcissist. Transform your co parenting entirely using skillful means. So, how would it feel to have support for this, solid strategy for this, good representation, freedom from your ex? How would it feel to watch your kid thrive, be happy, healthy, and well adjusted? Well, welcome to this 6 week coaching program and this course. And I hope that some of these tips, tools, strategies will help you get to what you want and get these things that I enjoy now. So if you're co-parenting with a narcissist, if you feel triggered by everything the narcissist does and doesn't do, this is a course for you. If you're stuck in the high conflict family court battle, if you feel defeated by the courts and the lawyers and the legal bills, if you don't have a lawyer for this is definitely a course to watch. And I'll just do a little introduction. Hello, I'm the award-winning author, Grace Wroldson. I'm going to help you create a clear plan to help you navigate the narcissist. In my 6 week signature coaching course, I will teach you how you yourself can deal with the issues and save thousands in legal fees and de-escalate the problems. So I empower women, mothers to step into their strengths and their rights. You are not alone if you're feeling scared that you will lose your child, overwhelmed by all the problems, tired of the drama and the ongoing issues, exhausted from the battles, lost on legal issues, triggered by the attacks or lies of the narcissist, fearful for your child to be in the care of the narcissist, stressed to the max, anxious beyond belief, like you've already lost in court to them. You're not alone in these feelings. Like I always tell my coaching clients, you can't get order from disordered people or a disordered person. And yes, you will have all kinds of problems when dealing with a problem person. In my 6 weeks Navigate the Narcissist coaching program, this is designed to hold your hand through this journey. You will save thousands of dollars in legal fees, know how to respond to the narcissist, stop being triggered, establish a winning mindset, learn to respond versus react, stop showing up like a helpless victim, create buffers, boundaries, firewalls, and shields for you and your children. Find a lawyer you can't afford or free representation. Believe that you're strong enough to fight for your children using strategy, and believe that you're strong enough to raise your child or children with the right support. Do you want to stop making common mistakes that could potentially cost you the custody of your child? Well, stop making mistakes. Sign up for my 6 week Navigate the Narcissist coaching program and learn. And learn to safeguard your custody case. That's number one. 2, let go of the ego battles. There's a lot of ego battles with a narcissist. And 3, save your energy for what matters, which is your life, your happiness, your child's well-being, and their life. You need my coaching course if you're dealing with child endangerment concerns, if you're sick and tired of being in crisis management mode, if you want to have peace so that you can thrive, if you want to ensure that your children or child is safe, if you're tired of the drama, trauma, and chaos, if you've already paid thousands in legal fees, if you don't want to pay thousands in legal fees. What's included in my course? Well, check the update, but right now it's one free copy of my book, 2 1-hour strategy sessions by each week by phone or Zoom for 6 weeks, 2 SOS emails, and 6 weeks of learning my program tools, tips, and strategies. You learn how to create that team of 10, and I can direct you to resources that can help you. We come up with action plans and to-do lists to improve your situation. And this program is for motivated mothers willing to learn and they want to do the work and whatever work it takes to keep themselves and their children safe. You can step out of being a victim or step from being a victim into victory for yourself and your child with the self work that we're going to do together. So if you have any questions about this, you can set up one of my affordable initial calls and ask me questions, get on my 10 to 8 calendar. You need this if you want to stop the battle sooner, be able to know what to say, what to do, how to do it, work with an expert on narcissists and high conflict battles, or talk with a survivor and gain survivor wisdom. So thank you for being here. This is going to be week number 1. I'll give you a little background if you don't know about me. I fought as a low-income single mother in an 11-year high-conflict family court battle with a wealthy, angry narcissist. I underwent 3 biased, unfavorable GAL investigations and reports, 2 psychological examinations court-ordered. I had 3 attorneys, filed several police reports. I've attended many court-ordered parenting classes, went through 6 CPS investigations, and much, much more. I wrote 3 books available on Amazon that detail my wins and losses, and eventually I survived a 5-day trial, which spanned 2 years and took 3.5 years to get to. After that, I went on to win contempts against my ex, gain more time with my child, and I was subject to numerous narcissistic tactics, loads of post-separation abuse. My child was harmed, neglected, and used for narcissistic supply and attention. I survived it all, and so did she. I was able to stand up for myself in court with proper representation. And then I learned to create peace, move on, and thrive with my child. I hope my story helps you and gives you hope. And I'm here to help mothers and children live happy, narc-free lives. And if that sounds good to you, then journey with me. Give you my disclaimer, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a licensed professional, I'm not a paralegal, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you therapy advice or provide therapy. This isn't a substitute for therapy, and this isn't a substitute for legal advice. I believe everyone needs both of those support systems along with some self-help and some education. What I can give you is my survivor wisdom, what worked for me, and point to some of the things that might help you, but I'm not liable for any harm, injury. You have to make decisions on your case with good, legal, solid counsel from lawyers, attorneys, or anybody that represents and knows family court and the judges. So take what you like, leave the rest. And if you want to learn more about me and my books, you can come to my website, www.gracewroldson.com. I started as an author who loved an alcoholic for 15 years, didn't know he was a narcissist, had to break codependency, love addiction, trauma bonds, and survive that with codependency recovery. Then I had to get the experts to help me with family court and co-parenting with a narcissist. So that's my background. My first 2 books are about that, and my last books are purposely written to help mothers get through and survive the storm of a family court war or a horrible custody co-parenting situation. So this is session number 1, and we're going to go over goals, missions, strengths, and weaknesses. This is important because the key to my survival was to maintain my sanity. That was the only way I was going to get through it, get over it, get to the other side, and enjoy life, was maintaining my sanity. So my first book, Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane, is exactly what I needed to set forth with myself because I needed my sanity to get through it, and I needed my sanity to do everything. Without it, I was useless to myself, my custody case, and my child. So maintain your sanity. If you've broken free of a narcissistic relationship, it's now your mission to maintain your sanity. So when we go over the goals, the missions, the strengths, and the weaknesses in session one, this would be after your intake, which basically just sets a foundation, gives me some background. This is what we jump right into. We take an objective, non emotional look. It's a full assessment of your situation. And I can't tell you how valuable perspective is when you get it. So, if you've done a few legal consultations and you've told your story to lawyers, you see their perspective on your case, and it can be so helpful to get perspective on what you're up against, what you're dealing with, what you're doing, what he's doing. So this is session number one, and we're going to jump into the first part. So if any point you need to pause this and start writing or journaling, I highly encourage that. All of my books came from journals that turned into lessons learned, that turned into helpful tips and tools. So goals are important. They provide a focus, and we need to sit down and say what it is we want. I can't tell you how many mothers talk and complain about the narcissist, but they do not have a list of 20 things that they want from the courts or a judge to issue. They're so busy just complaining. That's where you go from shifting your mindset from problem into solution. So your goals are important. So journal these. What are your short-term goals? Is it, just to get through it? Is it to, maybe you have to go month by month just to get through the week, just to get through the day, depending on your level of stress, problems, anxiety, whatever your predicament is. All of our situations are so different and so complex that it's really hard to make a one size fits all coaching course. So I'm just going to cover all the major topics and give you some of my survivor wisdom so that you can see what applies to your situation and use it if it will work for you. Write down the long-term goals. That's important. Children, we're there to raise them till they turn 18, get them through a childhood or provide a happy childhood for them. I recently got a Mother's Day card, and my 10-year-old told me, thank you for providing me a happy childhood. So I feel like I'm doing my job because that was my focus. My goal was to provide a happy childhood because she only gets one, and I wanted to be part of it. So that we can talk about your mission. A lot of moms want to be the best mom that they can be. Some moms who are alienated just want to be a mom. So we can write whatever mission, if we're working together in sessions, whatever mission down that applies for you. But make sure your goals are clear and reasonable. If your goal is to get full custody and you were married for 20 years and he's got no criminal record, and the child's not being abused and neglected, and your request isn't reasonable and it makes you look like an alienating high conflict parent, we gotta look at those. But make sure your goals are clear, they make sense, they're logical, they're reasonable. And some examples are to survive, to de-escalate the co-parenting conflict, to help your child establish peace, find a better lawyer, set up a support system if you don't have one, heal from narcissistic abuse if you're not currently focused on that or doing that. Stay sane, reduce triggers, handle triggers, or any triggering, educate and learn about narcissists, narcissistic abuse, healing, and your recovery. So pause this if you need to. Sit down, write 5 short-term goals, write 5 long-term goals, and just check them against are they reasonable? Is it clear what you want to do? And this would be one thing that we do, journaling. So journaling can be so helpful. When you write it down, it solidifies it. It's like getting it onto the vision board or down into a purposeful prayer. And I have goals every year. I start a new journal and I write 2022, 2025 goals, whatever year it is. I write these goals down for the year, and it's basically taking an assessment of how am I doing, where am I at, where do I want to go, to what do I want to do to improve my life or my child's life. So write these goals down, and maybe it is to get a therapist, get your child a therapist. That can be really helpful when you need an ally in a family court custody battle, hearing, or trial. So you can pause here or move on. So we are still in session 1, and it is my second part is to list and observe your strengths and weaknesses. It's so important to do an inventory. This is a self-assessment. You have to look at your strengths, know that you have them so that you can believe in yourself, and you have to look at your weaknesses. And maybe you're always reacting, you're full of anxiety, you worry all the time. It's like a bad habit. Your weaknesses are you're picking partners that aren't safe to be around children, so that ruins your custody case. Your lawyer's incompetent, and you're too loyal to leave. You're not documenting. Like, list your weaknesses, own up to them, take responsibility. But this isn't to blame you for your weaknesses. This is to shore up and strengthen those weaknesses, because your weaknesses most likely, typically, get used against you in a family court battle with the narcissist or his attorney. They will attack weaknesses. So, one of the things I always do is I show strength. I don't divulge information that I'm anxious, that I'm in therapy. I don't give that information to a narcissist or his lawyer. So if one of your weaknesses is you're always over explaining, giving too much info, data, intel to the narcissist, then you have to know that that is a weakness, and write it down. And then write down 3 ways you can fix your weaknesses. So find one, circle one. If you need to pause, how can you fix these weaknesses? Like, do you need to do the consultations with several other attorneys, get free consultations, or pay to get a consultation? And I have a great Get the Right Lawyer guide that has worksheets for you to do those and ask the right questions. And, think about 3 things that you can be doing that will fix and address those weaknesses that you have. And you might have to get creative. I had to get very creative to address my weaknesses, or to turn my weaknesses into strengths, or hide weaknesses, or not just put them on display, really, to be attacked. So it's important that you lead with your strengths, you address your weaknesses, you fix anything that you can do on your end, and you get mobilized into action addressing those weaknesses. If you don't have support, that is a huge weakness. So write that down. You don't have a regular DV counselor, a therapist, a sponsor in a 12-step program, or a life coach, or a high conflict divorce coach, or someone that is a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. If you don't have the right support, that's a huge weakness. Even trying to get regular therapists to deal with such a high conflict, complicated issue as co-parenting with a narcissist, they can lead you astray by assuming that he's normal and he'll act naturally and reasonably and civil. And maybe that's not who he is and what he's doing at all, but you're listening to the advice and the encouragement of a well-meaning therapist to deal with someone who's toxic and basically a crazy man. That will you can drive yourself crazy trying to apply normal to abnormal. Don't get caught in that trap. So if that's one of your weaknesses, is you're projecting your good-hearted self and care about the kids onto them, thinking they care about the kids like you care about the kids, and they will be caring and civil, and they're not. If you're constantly projecting, that's a weakness that somehow you have to get straight in your mind with who he is. So if you don't know anything about narcissism, which occasionally happens, a mother will join a group, find my program, then it's a huge weakness if you don't know what you're dealing with. So there's plenty of free YouTube videos on narcissists. You can check out the backs of my books, have all the ones that I recommend that I think are credible and professional. So maybe you need an education on narcissists, not just, oh, I know he's a narcissist, I'll throw around the word, but don't really know that their minds think differently, that they need supply, or what drives them, what motivates them, what are their tactics, what are their tricks. They have similar tactics, similar tricks, and I list them all in my co-parenting abuse PDF. So you can you can learn. And if you don't know, that could be a weakness. And so now that I know, it's a strength. Knowledge is power. The next thing is to establish a winning mindset. Your mindset can be everything. Let me say that again. Your mindset can be everything to your custody case, to yourself, to your life, to your child. So make up your mind to have a positive outlook, even if it's gloomy and dark. Like pretend that you see that tiny light at the end of the tunnel and you're going to get through this dark tunnel. So what has your mindset been like? Has it been hopeless, helpless, defeated, just down and negative? And we don't want to pull ourselves down with negativity. The narcissist is totally good at that on their own, so we have to counter that with our own positivity. So maybe ask yourself, what would a winning mindset be for you? And pause this video and write that down. What would a winning mindset be for you? And write that down. If you have trouble with that, just write down, what would you tell your best friend going through this co-parenting with a narcissist in a high conflict family court battle? What would you tell your best friend? And if that doesn't work, what would you tell your daughter going through this? You certainly wouldn't say, oh, it's going to suck for 30 years, or you just got to survive 18 years, get through it, it's miserable. What would you tell them? Find your higher self, find an inner light that you can illuminate and say. So establish that mindset, because your thoughts create feelings, which create karma. One bad thought can create the karma that becomes your life. So watch your thoughts. What have you been thinking that's toxic to you? So, we talk about how toxic the narcissist is to us, but we don't talk about how toxic our thoughts can be. So if you're loaded with toxic guilt, toxic shame, toxic blame, we have to eliminate that self-talk that is going on very subtly under the surface and switch that around. So feelings aren't facts. So if you're feeling guilty, it might not be that you are guilty. If you're feeling ashamed, it might not be that you are, an embarrassment to yourself and to your life. Those can all be negative tapes from childhood, from an adult or parental figure, that you need to eject and adopt a winning mindset full of positive affirmations. And one of the things that I used is self-approval 100 times a day. So if you need to write that on a Post-it note, self-approval 100 times a day. I approve of myself. I approve of myself. I approve of myself. I am a good, loving mom. Get your mindset straight and get your mindset right. So those are some tips that I use, and make up your mind to have the best mindset and positive outlook that you can, no matter how horrible he is, the situation is, your children are being. Get your mindset straight. Choose your mindset like you would choose your clothes every day. So choose a mindset for not just the day or the month or the year, but choose it for your lifetime. So we want to enjoy our lives, not just endure it. So have a winning mindset. Number 2, stop making mistakes. I think this is number 4 or 5, actually. Stop making mistakes. Recognize mistakes. We all make mistakes, and mistakes are for learning. So if you can learn from your mistakes, there's a lesson. And with every mistake, there is a lesson. If you can learn that lesson, write it down, acknowledge it, learn from it, and then change your behavior or your thinking, then this can make you stronger than before you made a mistake. So if you want to become stronger than before, learn from your mistakes. So some examples are poor representation. If you have the wrong lawyer, poor presentation to professionals. If you're presenting as an anxious, worried, stressed out, overwhelmed mother who's full of anxiety and cannot manage the situation or raise your children or child, work on your presentation. If you're not documenting, if you're caving into fear, worrying, anxiety, if you're reacting all the time versus waiting 3 days and responding when you can, if you're expecting your child to protect you, or if you're making deals with the narcissist and he's using them against you, he's gaining ground and traction. What mistakes are you making? Are you breaking no contact? Are you what mistakes are you making? Pause the video, write down 10 mistakes you're making. And if you've cleaned up a lot of mistakes because you've been learning as you go, then what mistakes have you made that were big ones? Just acknowledge them. What mistakes have you been making that are repeated? And it's usually communication with the narcissist, jumping into over explaining and defending and justifying. That becomes a big mistake. Things we say get used against us in court, or misunderstood or misconstrued or misrepresented later. So we learn to say very little, be very businesslike, say neutral things, say the right thing, say what we would want a judge to see us saying. Write and speak as if we're talking to a judge, if that tip can be helpful for you. Think about what you can do to stop making mistakes. So sometimes we need to call a friend first, or call our coach first, or get a session before we respond to a harassment message or some type of new battle or attack. What can you do to stop making mistakes in your custody case? Usually that comes down to, do you have the right lawyer? Do you have a lawyer? If you're going to try to represent yourself in a highly emotional situation, you don't know the law, you don't know the choreography of the courtroom. There's so much that you're up against, especially if your children are being abused that or neglected, that it's really important to get representation, not just for you, but for your children, so that you don't lose your case thinking you can do it all, be it all, have it all, win it all, and stay unemotional, logical the whole time. We are emotional creatures. We have a lot of empathy. This is a highly emotional thing to be in a custody battle or co-parenting with a narcissist. So we have to make good choices based on just the reality and the facts of our situation. Next is setting up supports. This is session 1, and that's why we're talking about supports right up front. You need allies, safety nets, therapists, advisors, counselors that are safe for you, that that can help you if you have to go to court. So write down what you currently have, and I've worked with moms that have no one, and write down what you need. So I have moms that I've talked to that have a therapist who's not a narcissistic abuse expert. So they might need to get the therapeutic support of someone that knows narcissistic abuse syndrome. So make sure you're getting support and that you're being solution focused. So if your only support is to post on Facebook groups your problems, that's not support. Please get professional therapeutic supports, or expert advisors, so that you're not getting a bunch of mom stories, because they're going to post to you what they think, what they know, what they've been through. And when you get support from someone, they have heard the whole story. So they're not going to tell you to go file a CPS claim if you've already filed 20 on small issues, and it's going to go against you in family court to do that. So, moms will hear a situation and they'll advise other moms on Facebook, well, meaning I would file a CPS report, but I've seen that backfire and go against the moms. So when you have people that know your story, have been following the story, know the whole background, those are your best advisors at times. Occasionally, it's good to get a free consultation from a lawyer, explain your overall perspective of your case and get their take on it, so you get some fresh insight and new thoughts, because maybe another family court expert that knows the judge knows of different programs, anger management classes your ex can go through, or hoops that they have to jump through, YMCA supervised visits and transfers, whatever else that family court can offer as a boundary, a buffer, a firewall, or a hoop for someone who doesn't believe they should follow the rules to jump through. So get support. And, getting support isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And like I said, going up against something bad, either you and your children, and going up against something difficult or hard or challenging, can bring you out stronger than before. And so can support, can make you stronger than you would be all alone. So get that support. And then I have optional for session one is to make a mission statement. I love making a mission statement. Can you articulate what your mission is? And do you have a dual mission statement? Because you matter too. So if you're a mom that totally focuses on your kids, you want to get them through a happy, healthy childhood, well adjusted to 18 safely, uninjured, unharmed, less traumatized. What about you as a mom? Can you put yourself in there that you enjoy your freedom, enjoy being a mother? Um, can you put a mission statement in there that includes you? And mission statements, you can hang them anywhere to stay focused on who matters and what matters, because any drama, trauma, chaos thrown at you by a narcissistic ex or sociopathic ex, if it's not part of your mission statement, you really don't need to spend energy on it. What you want to spend energy on is what your real mission is here to do. And if you only have your child half time, then you might have to repurpose yourself. You might have a supporting role that you're not the full parent anymore, or you might have to have a supporting role because your kids are becoming teenagers and you're not just the fully in charge adult with a young child. So sometimes you have to repurpose yourself. So make your mission statement, write that, pause this, write that mission statement that really speaks to you. And it's great because it really touches your heart and your mind. If you've gone through this, you know my first book, Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane. It's a survivor story. There's a bonus number 8 to stage a comeback. It's available on Amazon. I highly encourage you to read this book up to probably lesson 2 or 3, number 2 or 3, while you're going through this co-parenting, navigating the narcissist program. The next book is How to Fight a Narcissist in Family Court and Win, Super Smart Strategies for Success, more of a survivor story. And these have the strategies that I had to adopt. That's also available on Amazon. That'd be number 2. I read the other one first. This is a wrap up of session 1. This was about getting a full picture of you, your custody case, you inside and out, and to look at what you can control, to get very focused, and to observe the dynamics, because we have to stop granting narcissistic supply to save our energy. And if you want to, if you're feeling really upset about your weaknesses or your mistakes, which we do have to do an inventory of, it's always good to do that with a coach or someone that is non-judgmental, who's been through it, and confess them in a way, kind of like purge the pain and vent and confess. Then the next thing that I would do is write down what is working with your ex or what's been working, so that you can keep that positive mindset to know that you are doing things that are working. And you are paying attention to what works, because sometimes it's that little thing that works for one person, gets them to stop attacking you. So saying thank you, or giving them free gifts. Sometimes it's these little things that de-escalate the problem and change the dynamics. And we'll work on that in further sessions. So there's 12 sessions in all, and this would be session 1, really exploring and diving into your story, and digging up and excavating what we can to really look at it and get a study of your history, and so that your history doesn't become your future. If you don't like what's been happening in the past, we can try to change that. When it begins with your thoughts. So if you want a little bit more guidance, there's another webinar that I have. It's how to communicate and have sanity. Really important. find this creating peace, co-parenting with a narcissist. It can be done. If you remember how the narcissist used to love bomb you and act perfect, they can do that. They can act, they can do better if they want to, if they're motivated, if it's in their interest, it serves them, and they're not placed in a position where their back is against the corner and they feel the need or they have to attack you to salvage themselves. So learn about that dynamic in this 1 hour webinar. Someone, probably a narcissist, complained that they don't need 1 hour to know how to gray rock and go no contact. Well, if you're in family court, you know that showing a openness, willingness, and pattern of trying to communicate and co-parent with the other party versus stonewalling them, shutting them out, silent treatment them, can really help your custody case and safeguard against parental alienation claims. So yeah, take 1 hour to hear some insights on how to communicate with a narcissist and what our focus needs to be on. Don't just dismiss it as you already know everything. It's don't communicate with them at all. You might get some new insights on your situation that can improve everything. So check that out. If you want the free 7 tips download, it gets you on my monthly newsletter. I'm serious about you learning all that you can. I have a free 7 tips instant download. It comes from the information in my first book. I'll post that link below. So this will be on YouTube and you can look for that link in the description. I also have a Get the Right Lawyer guide. And it has the worksheets that you print out. There's 3 of them, so you can do 3 if you don't have a lawyer, or if you need to change lawyers, or if you need to check with other lawyers to make sure that your legal strategy is on track. There's 20 questions. All of them are important. And if you go to a lawyer and you just, if you're prepared, you know what you're going to say. So read through that whole guide. Before you print out those things, read those questions so you are prepared and you're not intimidated by talking to lawyers or wasting money because you didn't go in with a plan. You just, paid $300 for a call, but you didn't know what you wanted to ask. So use those Get the Right Lawyer guide, those worksheets in the back of that guide. So if you're following along and you're going to be doing this online course, please read up to chapter 2 of Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane, so that you're helping that mind shift, because one of them is about coexisting. If you can't eliminate your ex from your custody situation, like some people have been able to do, but if it's not possible, we have to learn to coexist and deal with unfairness and injustice. So read my story, see how I journaled through this and I got through this in the battle that happened in my mind and heart. And hopefully you can resonate with that, identify with my story, feel validated, and feel like you're not alone. So go ahead and read up to like chapter 2 or 3 of that first book. Thank you for watching. Please come back and watch session number 2, and I look forward to seeing you then.